Hey everyone. I'm trying to get 86 in here. Hey. Grits. Okay, where's 86? There. Okay, Hat. Where did 86 go? There she is. 86. Can you hear?
I can.
Hey.
I said,
All right,
what
I'm
she
gonna
wants
let
to beat? She said, alive.
You hear that? That's branding. I'm just gonna let a couple more people get in
Oh,
here.
look at my cousin. Hi, Tiffany.
Yes. Come on, branding.
Hi, Sydney. Who else?
Can you
Man,
see?
this is really like those Instagram videos where people are like, hey, you said what? No,
Yeah, hold on. Ryann, stop it.
I am Deja Banks. Boy, you crazy.
Yeah.
What you talking about?
When hood dudes get on live. What's up, DJ Kane? What's up? What's up with everything?
You don't have a drink. You said have a drink, so I had a drink prepared.
I do.
Is it blue?
No, this is a cup. Look.
Oh.
Nice little cup.
Okay. What's in it?
So we
nice,
have, there's 1,000 people. Oh, my bad. That's 10.
Bitch.
Okay.
I think 10 is solid, considering this is
I do too.
the beginning.
We're at 11, so. All right, hold on. I'm going to officially start it with the theme music. Oh, this is
I just slapped my lip, so I'm trying to make sure it doesn't look all like splotchy. It doesn't. Oh, thank you, Sydney. Thank you. I'm not fancy. Under this dress are legs that haven't been shaved in a solid month and a half.
Okay, hold on. The show's officially starting. Hold on.
Okay. Let me be professional.
Theme music. Who's Miss Creighton?
Lee.
Oh, you know who that is?
Lee? You know Lee.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Lee.
Mm-hmm.
I know Lee. Okay.
So we could just do this the whole video.
Hey, we could. Hey. All right. So first of all, I want to thank everyone out there in America. Thank you for so much for tuning in.
Thank you. Appreciate
this is my first interview series show called The Art of Storytelling. And the purpose of this is to basically give me an opportunity to talk and connect with all the dope people that I know in my life and my network that are doing amazing things, whether they're here in Atlanta or out in the world, all over the country. Especially in this time right now, I think that in the time of Instagram Live being the thing to do, I thought that I would bring this kind of content that can make people laugh, but also inspire people, have people who are doing amazing things tell their story, give little tips, and then just have some fun. And I am so happy to have my first guest.
And I'm so happy to be here.
The beautiful, the amazing. She got 2 different names. I don't know which one to call her by. I'm going to just go with Ryann. I've known Ryann since, oh, God, probably 25, 30 years.
30 years.
Maybe.
25 years at least.
Around 30 years. So Ryann is a jack of all trades, but currently she is in Tucson, Arizona, where she has started a lifestyle brand, LucaRyann. I'm going to have her talk more about it, but I wanted to bring her on here today. And so we're going to talk. She's going to tell a little bit about her story. But in particular, what's amazing about you, Ryann, is that you have created a brand and a lane for yourself, and did so moving across the country and doing that outside of your comfort zone, without your network, and just kind of doing that, just utilizing your own personality, your skills, your talent. And so I think that that's just something that's inspiring.
Thank you.
I'm usually not this congratulatory of you. I'm looking for my words.
We all have things we have to work on. We do.
Because you are clearly, certainly your biggest fan. But I'm a fan of yours too. So I'm gonna try.
You have to be.
I'm gonna try and control some of the self praise today. But you know, I'm gonna let you
Might
do
surprise
it.
you. Might surprise you. Might surprise you.
All right, so let's get started. What I want to do first is I just want you to kind of introduce yourself, give a little bit. You know, I want you to plug definitely LucaRyann. LucaRyann is her vintage lifestyle brand that's doing really big things on the West Coast, but looking to expand that. So go ahead and talk to the people. We've got 14,000 here now. So go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we'll get into it.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name's Ryann, and I currently live in Tucson, Arizona, but I'm from Decatur, Georgia. And I have a vintage clothing kind of lifestyle minimalist brand. I had a shop in Tucson for the past like 2 years, and it was in a development and shipping containers. And so that's where I first really kind of came to fruition with everything and with the brand as a whole. And yeah, and so now I'm transitioning that. I'm transitioning the shop into more of online and events, like vintage and curated pop-ups around the country between LA, New York, and San Francisco. And so I'm just really launching my website and kind of trying to transition the brand into the different entities that I wasn't really focusing on when I just had the shop solely.
Awesome. Yeah. So I think it's interesting too, like with everything that's going on.
I mean, it's crazy.
That you were already kind of transitioning to online already. And so now that's the only choice you got.
Literally. I mean, truly, I joke about this because some really good friends of mine own a shop called Now or Never, and they were right across from me, and they're moving their shop to Phoenix. But we closed at the same time, and we were like, damn, like, what if we still had this shop? What if we still had this overhead, which is what so many of our friends are dealing with that have small businesses. The uncertainty when you're paired with that amount of overhead is really difficult. The flip side is that online sales are also really difficult. You can have the best website, the biggest brands, and it just takes a really long time to kind of train people to shop from you that way. People want both, is what I noticed. You need to create that experience through Instagram and online, but people also really love having a place that they can walk into and touch, feel, smell, and just kind of, they want you.
Yeah.
They truly want you, and they want an experience with you, and it's so much more than just the items that you're selling. So yeah. So
and you're and you know you're I know in the past you've been called magnetic.
By many.
What?
I said by many, but really it's like one. But okay. Yes, I know what you're about to say. Go ahead.
You're magnetic. And we've talked about a lot of times people come in that shop, like you've had these, you tell me these stories of like 60-year-old ladies who come in the shop and talk to you for like 10 minutes and they're like, I need your contact information. Mm-hmm. I want to put you in contact with this person. So it's always interesting with particularly in clothing, right, and just merchandising like that without having that, you know, person to person, that interaction that I think is one of your strengths and like why you're so successful just as a saleswoman also. Right. When you take that away, when you take away your magnetic personality,
it's hard to convey that. And it's, you know, it is so much more than whatever the item you're selling, especially clothing. I think people have they have their own journey, their own personal experience with clothing. They have whatever they're like battling with, whatever they feel their insecurities are, or just wanting someone to provide a real experience to them. And you form these true friendships with people. That's the give and take. It's like you give so much of yourself that it can be difficult to find the time to also create while you're giving so much of yourself to people and they're giving it back to you. But yes, that's my hardest thing is I shine through interaction with people and verbally and talking and connecting. So I'm a communicator, which is why I'm the first guest on this show. So, but
who show?
Your show, Mina D, and so happy to be here. Let me just say that again. So honored to be here.
It's an honor. It's an honor to have you, boo. I'm so excited. And I know that, like, you know, with all business owners, my heart goes out to everybody with this virus. It's just,
Right.
it's so devastating. I think that, like, by the grace of God, you were already kind of making a transition. So it didn't hit you, you know, you kind of did it by choice rather than by
Yeah.
force.
The timing was everything, but it
Yeah.
definitely has. I mean, I think the silver lining and the biggest blessing is that it's given me the time to really focus on this, because I can't, what I've learned from this is you can't do it all. You,
Right.
especially with vintage, where I'm picking this collection piece by piece by piece. I have to go around. I'm not sitting at a computer putting in like an order and having these things come to me that already have, you know, stock photos that I can use. That is a job.
Yeah.
Being face to face with people, that is a job. And then online was like this thing that I knew I needed to tackle. I knew I needed that component. And just being a single mom, having 2 small kids, being the only employee in my shop for the first like year and a half, it just seemed, it was like overwhelming, impossible.
Should have put them kids to work.
Yeah, they, you know, they're a brand of their own, honey.
They
got their own little brand going.
That's my second and third guess.
They have their own little brand.
Right.
It's a lot. It is a lot. And you realize that, you're not meant to do all of those things by yourself. You do have to outsource, and you do have to step back and know when it's time to focus your energy into different parts of it. Otherwise, you're not going to be left with anything. So
yeah. So the name of my series is Art of Storytelling. So what I wanted to do, you know, you've kind of given people an idea of like of your brand, of you know, kind of where you are with it right now. But I wanted to kind of get into your story, which I think is extremely inspiring. And it has been a journey like no other.
still on it, you know.
Still on it, right.
Still having it.
Still having some ups and some downs. Some
high highs and low lows.
But you can't get too high. Like my dad always says, you know, Miriam, you can't get too high. You can't get too low. You got to keep it at 0.
Oh, okay. Well, that's happening now. So cheers.
All right. So tell the story of how you came to realize that vintage styling, curating, retail, like how did you come to a place where you decided that that was your calling or your passion? And then just kind of take us through the story of getting to that place, and then making the transition to the West Coast.
Right. So I have always grown up with, my family's really into like unique items, special items. Constantly, my mom was like finding stuff on the side of the road or going to the thrift store and pairing, you know, new with old. So that's something that's always been around me. But I can't even remember. I was bartending at Eclipse de Sol. Most of y'all who are on here know that I did that for years.
Girl, that was a blessing to us all.
It was literally free drinks for years, But and then I got a part-time job at the clothing warehouse in Little 5 Points for a little while, and I think that was my first introduction into being like, okay, I really do want to find like where I fit in with like vintage clothing and how I can make it work, because as a whole, I feel I was buying a lot of big brands. I was, you know, had a lot of labels, and I was just kind of trying to cultivate my own style in that and pair those things together. And then a really good friend of mine, Rush Searson, she has also a vintage.
Shout out Rush.
Ada Rush Shop. That's her Instagram.
At Ada Rush Shop.
And she's been doing this for years. She had been, you know, you'd go to vintage stores and you'd be like, yeah, this is cool, but it's too specific of an era. It's not everyday stuff. It's not like timeless classic pieces. And there weren't places that had really curated vintage that was super relevant, that looked like designer, and was basically what designers were basing their new lines now off of, which is so much of it. And she started curating collections and had been doing that for years. And she really inspired me. And I went like deep into thrifting. I used to thrift all the time, but I didn't have the patience to really look through the items and kind of start building my wardrobe. And I did in my early to mid 20s. You know, you're buying these like one-time pieces from Anthropologie, and you're spending $200-300 on a dress for a wedding, and you keep doing that, and you're like, damn, I don't have any clothes though. I have all of these items, but I don't have a wardrobe. And as I got older and came into my own sense of style, I realized that like I want wardrobe building pieces. So I wanted quality made clothes, and that's where I started going, the thrift stores, the estate sales, and things of that nature, and really finding the pieces that new designers are basing their collections off of. And that it just
You
kind
were
of went
doing
from
all of
there.
that here in Atlanta.
I was doing that in Atlanta long before I knew what I wanted to do with it. I was doing it for myself first and foremost, but I was finding so many pieces, and I was just collecting and curating. I didn't realize I was doing it, but I was putting a collection together. And I kept being like, well, I can't wear all this. Some of this doesn't even fit me. I don't even know who I'm buying this for, but these pieces are incredible. Like, someone needs to be buying this stuff. And I knew that I had a lot of friends who like don't have the time, don't have the eye, but would appreciate these things. So I started buying and I started buying and, taking over all closet spaces of my house, my dad's garage. And I didn't know really what my angle was, but I knew that the hunt is therapeutic, and that's the part that I love the most. And it was just what I did. With or without money, I was doing it. And so that's how it started.
So at what point did you realize, and I know you've had, and we can go into this in as much detail as you would like,
All the
but
detail. All the detail.
what so taking something that you're passionate about that you're going to do anyway,
Right.
that just is therapeutic, or it's just your passion, your interest. How do you take that, and what I think is just what's so awesome about what you've done is you've made that into not only just been able to monetize it or turn it into a business, but how were you able, like, at what point did you say, this is what I need to do for my life as a career?
So,
And
right.
then also, how do you make that decision and then chuck the deuces to the city where you have this broad network,
Right.
all the little nooks and all the places to go. So how did that kind of transition happen?
So those, coincided with each other. And there was like a huge catalyst in my life. I went through a separation. I left my marriage when I was 7 months pregnant, and my family lived in Phoenix. And so at that time, I knew I needed to be close to my family because I was going to have a baby, and I wanted to be in like a really safe space where I felt good and I could focus on the baby. And so at 7 months pregnant, literally the same friend I mentioned, Rush, who also has a vintage brand.
I think Rush is in here. She literally
Hi,
came in like right
Rush. We've
after you
been talking
talked.
about you a lot, I think, prior to you joining, but
We shouted you out
we were
too.
talking about you. Um, I called her like devastated, knowing that I had to get out of the marriage that I was in, and I had to do what was best for me and my child. And I was like, look, yo, I need to drive to Phoenix. Like, I need to pick up and go be with my family. Will you ride with me? And we drove from Atlanta to Phoenix, and I left Atlanta. Honestly, it felt like overnight. I mean, I knew that something had to happen.
It was I remember it.
Yeah.
It was like, this is what I'm doing.
And that's always been me. I think no matter whether you're talking professionally or a relationship, I know when it's time to pivot. I know when it's time to fold and get out and move on. And I have never been someone who was so focused on what I thought was meant for me, and that I wasn't rooted in the reality of what was actually happening in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality of that was that I was in a really awful situation with someone who wasn't willing to do the work and wasn't prioritizing me or our like unborn child.
Yeah.
And I needed to get my piece. And so I think it was like less than a week, literally. I called Rush bawling.
Literally saying it was overnight.
It was overnight. Yeah.
And it's funny. You remember we used to joke about that time that you were quitting a job over text? Or
when I'm out, I'm out.
And we were like,
when I'm out.
86 ain't got no problem saying.
To a fault. I mean, to a fault.
But,
like, I'm not saying that's always worked in my best favor. However, for the most part, my own intuition has not led me wrong.
When you know, you know.
And that's the best thing you can do. I don't think you're ever... I heard some great advice from someone when I was talking about closing my shop. It's a woman who has 3 huge jewelry stores in Nolita in New York and Venice in LA. And she was a customer, and we started talking, and she's like, you have to know when you cannot be so afraid to switch what you're doing that you never get to where you're meant to be. And sometimes things that we perceive as failures are literally our biggest blessings. And in doing so, like, if you had asked me when my parents said they were moving to Phoenix, I was like, you mean like the armpit of the Southwest? Like, why would anybody want to live in Arizona?
You moving to dusty
And
Arizona?
I was born in LA. My dad's from LA. My parents met in LA. I went back to LA all the time to see my grandma. You don't go, when you go out west, you go to California, specifically Los Angeles. So
I'm aware.
Not,
I'm aware.
You know. And so, yeah, I was not happy about that. I remember pulling into Phoenix with Rush, and she was like, "You're going to die here." Because it was like subdivisions everywhere. I'd never lived in a house with a garage. You know, we're from Decatur. We live in town, and there I was in this, like, the rocks on the highway were the same color as the shopping center, was the same color as the buildings. And I was like, yo, this is not my place. And being there, I started something that Arizona has are like amazing estate sales, because there's so many damn old people and they die and you can buy all of their stuff. And so,
God rest their souls. God rest their souls.
You know, and I'm sure that they all have great stories about all their belongings. But anyway, when I started getting into the estate sales, something that my parents had been doing, I found this website where you just put in the zip code and it shows you all the estate sales in the area. And they're incredible homes. You know, Frank Lloyd Wright, there's so many beautiful, so much great architecture in Arizona, truly.
Yeah.
And so I love architecture and homes and things and design. So I was able to go in these incredible spaces and that people who have these really awesome careers and stories and see these great homes. And also that's where I started really buying. And I furnished a 4-bedroom house for myself from estate sales with like mid-century furniture. And then I started finding incredible clothing and vintage pieces and big brands. And I'm not kidding you. My parents had a 3-car garage and it was packed like to the brim. They weren't parking their cars in there because all my shit was in there. And my dad was like, what's your plan with this? Like, what are you going to do with these items? And I didn't know even then. I mean, I was pregnant. I was about to have a baby. And I was like, well, maybe I could like have a party at the house and invite people and have like sales and
resell it. Yeah.
Resell it. You know, Rush and I over the years in Atlanta had thought about doing these parties at like Sound Table or something, and getting a DJ and having it be an event, and we'd have clothing, but we never did. And so I was looking at it that way, but I was buying intentionally. I wasn't selling at that time, and I didn't really know how exactly I was going to go about it.
So when you were kind of, it's almost like you were setting yourself up for LucaRyann.
But I think I was creating it.
Had you formulated that idea yet, or was because what's you know what you can laugh about is like, here you are pushing up into Phoenix, buying shit.
I showed up in a fur coat with some Tim's on with Rush in Phoenix in February. Like, what's up?
And a belly.
Like,
and a belly.
And a 7-month pregnant belly. And I mean, you know, but
I
felt it. It wasn't a really clear vision at that point. I knew, you know, I was looking at all these people, and Rush and I were constantly talking about different ways that people were doing things, and everything seemed a little murky. All I knew is that I was in a gold mine in Phoenix, and I was on a high from getting.
Did you have any idea that Phoenix was
No, I told you. I didn't. I was looking at my parents like, I don't understand what you, dusty, white, old, whatever. Not even old, like too new. Western, white people with the rhinestones on the back of the jeans. Like, there was a lot that just wasn't for me. But then there's another side, which is like, Phoenix is super close to LA. There's so many people from California. There's beautiful architecture. There's people from all over the world that choose to like come there and are snowbirds and live there half the year. And there's money. So much money, and homes everywhere, and just resources, like truly resources.
Yeah. So what I and part of, you know, what's so inspiring and kind of captivating about your story, and that kind of transitions into my next little question for you, is like, when you leave a network that's so strong, in Atlanta where you know exactly where you need to go. You have people to call for literally any and everything. Um,
Right.
and then you move to a place where you know no one. You just know what you're trying to do. Um, how were you able to utilize like your relationship building skills, your network building skills out there? Because I know there's some people like you're a very you know, outgoing, engaging
Right.
person just naturally. So there's maybe some people who are like, listen, I'm not going to get in my car and drive
Mm-hmm.
to an estate sale and strike up a conversation with this 68-year-old white, dusty white,
78. 78.
78-year-old white lady selling her mom's old stuff. But you are. So,
Right.
I think, you know, we talked about this yesterday about how, because I was talking about, you know, how do you use your, you know, the kind of person that you became in Atlanta. You know, when
Mm-hmm.
we talk about like what makes Atlanta so great, we're very collaborative. That we, you know, we're just welcoming and open to everyone. So how were you able to capitalize on that in a new space?
So it was devastating to leave Atlanta. And I'll just say that, like, we had just bought a house in the West End before the West, because I knew that the West End was going to pop off. I'm still dealing with that, the emotions of that. And my entire world was there. Like, you and our friend group, you know, we've known each other since literally elementary school, and I've been so close with our friends since all of high school. And remember sitting in Sarah and John's living room and being like, I'm leaving and I'm going to have this baby that you all won't know, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so there were so many things that was really, really difficult for me, because my whole family is there. All my cousins were there. My aunts were there. Just my life was there. However, what was lacking in Atlanta for me was being inspired professionally. And I feel like when I left, even though I didn't exactly know how I was going to do what I was going to do, I knew that there was a larger network for what I wanted to do on the West Coast. And even, I mean, I was telling Rush when we were driving, even there, we were like, oh, should we stop in Palm Springs? Should we go to Joshua Tree? Like, so many people that we followed and that were making moves were kind of out that way. And I was at that time really like, okay, if I'm not going to have my friends and family, I'm going to focus on building these connections,
Right.
which still came organically. I mean, it wasn't, you know, I had a baby in between all of this. So I
Shout
wasn't,
out to Luca.
shout out to Luca, ended up having another baby. Shout out to Ada. That's a different story for a different topic for a different show. But
Got to refill a drink.
I wasn't like, I didn't take off on the ground running, but I think, again, I'm someone that likes to explore. And I was in this new place, even though I didn't choose to be. And every day my mom would joke and be like, where are you going? You act like you have a job. I would wake up at 8 a.m. and come back at 9 o'clock at night. Like 9, up to 3 days before I had Luca, I was out in
Right.
the streets,
Right.
because that inspires me, you know, like going to new neighborhoods, finding new cafes or coffee shops or markets. And then, of course, you meeting people and seeing what type of people like gravitate to certain areas, and going in central and like desperately trying to find a part of Phoenix that I identified with, which still hasn't really happened. But, you know, that, and I will say that is part of my personality. Just like, I'm open to it. I want to meet people. I like to talk, but I was inspired to learn Phoenix and see a lot of new things. And so I didn't sit home.
Yeah.
I literally was out
Out
every
here.
day,
Out here in these streets.
every day, just, you know,
So
exploring.
so at what point did LucaRyann happen?
Okay. So I had Luca. Um,
Wait, shout out Luca turned 5 yesterday.
Luca's 5.
Come
Luca's
on, Luca.
5. I had Luca April 2nd, and I got there at the end of February. And same thing, knowing when like this isn't working for me. And I kept telling my parents in Phoenix, I was like, I'm not feeling it here. Like, they love the mall, they love, you know, subdivisions, they want new things. I don't feel like this is the place for me. And one day for lunch, I drove to Tucson with my dad and my mom, which is like an hour and a half, 2 hours south of Phoenix, right before you get into like Nogales in Mexico. And
I'm familiar with Nogales.
What'd you say?
I'm familiar with Nogales.
Oh, okay, sure. Um, because Miriam went to Tucson once in like summer camp. So, and then she came to visit us, which was great. But anyway, I came for lunch. It was my dad's birthday. And I looked around and I was like, this is so much better. There were tons of independent restaurants and shops and adobe homes, and people had like innate style. I was just seeing little things. We pulled off the highway, and this is funny, I keep referencing my trip with Rush, but when I left Atlanta, Rush and I stopped in Tucson for dinner right before we went into Phoenix. And she was like, this is really cool. Is this what Phoenix is like? I'm like, hell nah. This is not what Phoenix is like, because Tucson had a really neat little downtown. Like, people are out, people are walking. It's way smaller, but it feels like more is going on because you see people out. They're walking, they're moving. There's actual communities. It's not just highway and infrastructure and homes.
Right.
So we went back, and I went to this public market off the highway, and we had like these incredible tacos. And I saw these people in this courtyard at this place called the Mercado San Agustin. And I was sitting there with my mom, and I just had Luca, and I was like, I think we should move here. And in this Mercado, they had a courtyard with like restaurants. We went there. Remember, Miriam?
Yes, the Mercado, yeah.
And in my mind, at that very moment, I was like, I know I have a new baby, but I'm going to bring all the shit that I've curated, and I'm going to sell it here. And I'm going to figure out where they're having events, who's doing markets, and I'm going to start selling this way. And within 2 weeks, I'd rented a house and moved to Tucson.
Damn.
Because I just felt it. I felt like it was the move. And as soon as I got here, you know, I took like a couple months to acclimate, and they were having their first ever makers market called Cultivate Tucson, which was a high-end market. Not like just like craft stuff, but things that were really like special and high-end. And I started going into all the local businesses, just kind of introducing myself, spending money, saying what's up, and just shopping, because that's ultimately, I'm a consumer too. I'm my own customer. And one of the shop owners, who's now a really good friend of mine, she owns a shop called Bon in Tucson, and they're amazing. She told me about this market, and she's like, you might want to do it. And that was the first time I ever sold. And from there, some of my closest friends,
So was that like a pop-up market?
They go to different locations. It happens, I think, 3 times a year, and they don't tell the location until the day of. And they've grown so much. I was at the first one. I did the first 4, and excuse me.
Take a little drink of the cocktail.
Thank you. Now there's like hundreds of vendors, I think. Excuse me.
Can't give me no good breath. Can't give me no good breath.
So I did the first one, and it was good.
Somebody said,
coronavirus.
Coronavirus.
Who was that?
Gretchen.
No, coronavirus.
This interview is over.
Okay. So that's it. I did Cultivate, and that was the first place I sold. And from there, I created the Instagram, and I started shopping, and I just did more events and more events. In that same place that I told you we ate at, the Mercado, right after Cultivate, I contacted them. A shop owner was like, they have a bazaar, a holiday bazaar and a spring bazaar, and I think you should be a vendor. And that was the second place I sold. But it's the place where I was sitting and thinking, I want to live here. This is what I need right now.
Wow. That's amazing. You know, the last thing, and what I think, just so you know, like, people are in the comments are just like, you know, so proud of you. Like, that's courageous.
Thank you. Give me 6 feet. Who is
that's Gretchen. That's Gretchen. Future guest too. But the people not playing about, they don't want that run over IG Live either. But I think that what I hope that people, and why I wanted you on here, and we talk about this a lot, is like the emotional stress and the just the weight of leaving a marriage, leaving your comfort zone, having a child, being pregnant, having a child. Like, you're literally making enormous life transitions that for a lot of people can really devastate you, can weigh
Right.
you down. And you could have you could have gone either way. You could have gone down into the
Yeah.
dark place.
I've
Which,
been there.
yes, we're familiar.
I bob in and out.
To
Yeah.
stick your toe in that dark place every now and then. Or you could have,
It could
just
have
turned
buried
it into
me.
a blessing. And I think that that's a testament to your resiliency
Yeah.
and your ability to find, a bright light in a very dark time.
Totally.
And I think that, and so I'm just wondering, for you, just thinking about how, when this is something that can inspire people, that people can learn from. What do you think it was that kept you kind of afloat when everything is weighing you down? But what do you think? Is there a single thing? Is it a mindset? Is it, what do you think it was that kept you going?
And this probably sounds so cliche, and I know we've all heard it, but it's been like a real mantra for me. It's like, you're the gift. You know
Mm,
what I mean? Like, you
yes.
possess everything that I thought I wanted in my life, that I was kind of looking at, whether it was my husband or even now my business, to give to me. And it's something that I constantly have to reaffirm to myself as things are always changing, as we see right now. You've got it within. And I think I've
Yes.
always known that what I was seeking, I possessed within myself, but
Mm,
I had to like quiet the noise around me to
mm.
utilize the gifts that God had already given me.
Hold up. Stop. Say it again, because there's some people in the back who are not paying attention.
It's about 8 of them,
There's
in the
people
back.
back who have gone to make another drink, and I want you to say,
Well, maybe when I started getting strangled, they were like, you know what, I'm gonna go pee.
but I say that again.
You're the gift. Like, you
Yes.
have what you need. And I'm
Yes.
saying this as I'm saying it to myself. I constantly have to tell myself that, like, I think we're so conditioned to think that you need these 10 pieces in a row, right? To be this
Yes.
whole thing.
Oh my
And when
God.
you're constantly, I think you can spin your wheels trying to get those pieces that you think you need to fit the puzzle, or you can
Mm-hmm.
look within what you have, because you
Right.
already have it.
Yes.
And being in a marriage where I was with someone who didn't see me, he
Mm-hmm.
didn't truly see me for me. I remember, and I'm not knocking this, like, I was a flight attendant for, I had a lot of jobs.
A
I've
lot.
had a lot of jobs, had a lot of experiences,
Jack of all trades. Truly.
and just tried things, which everybody would give me crap because I'd try and start and stop. But that has ultimately helped me understand like what I want in my
Yeah.
life.
And you're certain now.
But I didn't want to get so caught up in trying to like put my piece back together and be with someone who was like, well, why didn't you just stay a flight attendant? What's wrong with that? That's a good job. I've had plenty of jobs that were good jobs, but were they utilizing my gifts? No, they
Mm-hmm.
weren't. Was I clear about how I wanted to use my gifts and the things that I was passionate about? I wasn't. And it took time for me to figure that out. And I'm still figuring that out. I thought I wanted a shop. I had one, and I realized that isn't totally what I want to do either. I love the hunt, and I want the curation, and I want to meet people, but I don't want to be tethered down to this one space and thing, which inevitably made me stop creating. So
Mm-hmm.
you're constantly evolving. And I think if you buck on that and you push back and you try to say, no, this is what I said is what I need, this is what my life needs to look like, you miss the beauty in the transformation.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then when you get there, you find out you had it all along. It's just
Right.
who do you have around you? What are you putting your energy into? Is it serving you?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, right now with the uncertainty, like I just closed my shop three weeks before we got quarantined, basically. And there is a part of me that's just terrified because now I'm doing events, and I was supposed to be in LA in April, Austin in May, San Francisco, the Bay in June, and everything's up in the air. And I am freaking out about that. But I know that
You have the gift. You
I
have it.
have it. I
Yeah.
already have it. And
Yeah.
so all I have to do is be open to that, and it's going to come, and I'm going to see it clearly. It's hard to see clearly when you are in a fucked up marriage, when
Mm-hmm.
you are around people who don't believe in you or believe in what you're trying to do, and you let
Or
that noise.
or are threatened by your gift. a lot of times I think people can know that you're so strong and capable, and rather than realizing like that's something that needs to be protected at all costs,
Mm-hmm.
they're threatened by it, you know. So we talk a lot too about
Yeah.
how much of just life, relationships, marriages in particular, like you have to be constantly investing and growing in yourself.
In yourself. It
Mm-hmm.
starts with you.
Yeah.
Because if I'm waiting for you to complete me, or this, even my career, whatever it is, these things, my children, no, like
Yeah.
no outside factor is going to make me feel whole. And I know,
Right.
you know, with all the manifesting stuff and all the buzzwords we hear, yes, I get that it sounds cliche, but it's around because it's true.
Mm-hmm.
We have ourselves, and the only thing we can do is control our response to things. Like right now with Corona, I could sit in there are days where I just, you know, want to pull the curtains down. But the same thing when I was pregnant and leaving my marriage, it's my response. I cannot control the outside factors. I cannot help that this person didn't prioritize this the way that I did, or wanted to go a different path than me.
Mm-hmm.
But I can control how I feel about myself,
right,
and what I put my energy into.
Right.
And that has spoken volumes to my entire life.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think what's also important, talking about, you know, leaving your comfort zone, wherever you go, that's why where you're comfortable doesn't matter.
Right.
You know, like and
it pushes you.
Yeah. Like,
you know, we didn't talk about this, but
you only have yourself to rely on. And, you know, it's like, no
yeah.
one knows you. You know, people are just, you're presenting yourself to a new environment of people. And it's like, if you're finding success and you're getting that same feedback, that's just further confirmation that, like, I'm actually, you know, the gift.
I brought it with me. Yeah. And I think being out of your comfort zone, like, you know, when you're comfortable and you know where you need to go to get what you need to get, you don't go to new places. You don't, maybe, you know, you're not going to go try these different things that you might if you don't have anything going on and you don't know anybody, and you're kind of more open to building that community. Not to say when I first got here, I had a lot of friends. Now I got 3. Like, yeah, it works like that too, right? And that's fine as you figure out what serves you. Yeah, it's a journey, and it's still happening. And it wasn't, you know, it's not easy, but I feel like it never gets that dark because I know, I've been there before. I've seen things that I had planned for myself, the ideas you have for your family, for your life, go a completely different course. And I have truly realized that the darkest places bring the most light at the end, and learn the most about myself.
So true. So true. I mean, I'm going to make sure that I save this and just have this forever, because I think you've been speaking some words. You've been dropping some gems.
Well, you're really comfortable, Miriam. Like, I feel very comfortable with you. You know, you're a great host. I like the wave pattern to the hair. I like the hoops. Like, I like looking at your face right now. So that makes me want to say what I have to say.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's what Luca says. Okay, so before we wrap up, there's 2 things. First of all, my drink is empty, so I'm gonna refill. I wanted to share the cocktail that I'm making. Oh,
mine's empty now.
Okay, I wanted to share. I know that you're drinking some delicious cocktail, so I wanted you to, you know, kind of tap back into your bartending, your lifestyle curation, and tell us what drink you decided to have today for this occasion, and just share it with the people.
So mezcal is like a really big thing here. So that was mezcal with like sparkling wine and lime, like a lime simple syrup with cranberry that I made. Oh, because I've got a lot of time. I can make.
So what mezcal do you?
I don't know what this one is. My dad got this one from like a distillery here. Gosh, I don't know. I don't have it out here, but I find mezcal to be like a lot for me because I'm not a big tequila drinker, but it's really smoky. I think this one. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what it's called. I could make it.
Doesn't matter. It's okay. You don't have to know. But that's a good drink. I'm drinking some peach and orange blossom vodka with elderflower and sparkling lime soda.
So we're kind of like, we have similar drinks.
Very
that
simple.
sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah. We're magnetic.
Connected.
Cut from the same cloth. Okay. So, as you know, I told you this before.
I don't remember. Okay, go ahead.
So I'm gonna end all of these interviews with one of my favorite pastimes, one of anyone from Atlanta. This is just a practice that that we participate in lots, and that is the freestyle rap. And I know that 86 has
I
been
don't feel like I
known.
participate in that. I mean, not
86,
since 10th grade, but that's
86, Ryann D 86 has been known to really drop some bars that people remember. And so what I want to do is we can either do this two ways. If you got some on your spirit that you want the people to hear, you can let it out, or we can just go bar for bar. It's on you.
I'm not trying to do bar for bar because you probably wrote this shit down like a week ago.
I don't write. I do everything off the top of the dome.
Okay, interesting. I ain't a rapper, but don't push me.
Hey,
that's all I have on that line. I don't have anything to follow that up, which is really what I'm known for, like 6 words.
Girl, I ain't a rapper.
Okay, I got something. Okay. I'm sitting around the table with Mina D. I'm the first guest, and I'm honored to be. I hope that you like what I had to say. Drop some knowledge around the way. Hey. I ain't a rapper, but don't push me. Okay, that's no. I just keep going back to that because that's a line that I really liked, but I just couldn't quite. It just never really.
I like that. Boy, I tell you. Let me see what I got.
Please.
Okay.
Okay.
Looking at the time, it's 8:46. Sitting here with my girl, Ryann, 86. Out there in Tucson, Arizona, but she started doing coughing because she got that corona. Ooh!
So it's a Joan. It's a Joan. I feel like that wasn't really a freestyle. It felt like a Joan, but that's fine.
It is what it is.
It is what
it is. Well, Ryann, if you have anything else that you want to share, the last thing.
Yeah.
What can we expect? Where can we find you?
Plug.
Pulled off on the plug twice. Hey, we doing something and it's not nice. Hey, I'm about to let Ryann promo, but you know what? She not a hoe.
This rap was way too slow. Okay, so my Instagram. My Instagram, my shop one is Luca, LUCA _ because apparently I don't want any followers. Ryann with another _ and you can find me online. I have a website. I hope to be doing right before Corona hit. I signed on with this really big vintage event called A Current Affair that travels from Los Angeles, New York, LA, and I think now they're doing one in Tokyo. And so I'm so like happy and thrilled to be a vendor with them. They have about 10 or 11 shows a year, and there's 80 to 100 incredible. It's like literally the best vintage in the country with them. So as of now, I'm supposed to be back in the Bay for an event with them June 6th. That seems far-fetched, but I just got an email today saying that might happen. So we shall see.
Our fingers crossed, please.
I'm also selling online through this site called Garmentory that highlights a lot of small independent businesses. My really good friends, Jason and Wade, have a shop called Now or Never, and they sell incredible new designer stuff there on Garmentory also. So if you go on Garmentory, you can put LucaRyann in and look up. I have like a collection on there as well. And then hopefully just more pop-ups. Atlanta might be popping up with you. What y'all about? Are y'all on bullshit? Are y'all gonna show up? Is it?
Right now we're sheltering in place, but nobody's obeying it. So you're welcome to do a pop-up. You will have people. You will make some money. We don't care.
Where should we do it? That's something to think about. Like,
yeah, that is something to think about. I could definitely, I can help you.
You need some help? I can help you. I'm your girl. We like to quote Nene, early Nene though, before the fourth nose job Nene. Another Atlanta gem.
I can help you. You need some help. I'm your girl. Well, look, I pinned at LucaRyann at the bottom. Y'all make sure you follow her. It would be great to just shout out all these small businesses right now. Shout them out. I hope that you guys took some really inspiring words from this. I know I did. It kind of just reaffirms stepping out on faith, on yourself, betting on yourself at all times. And a lot of your growth comes when you step out of your comfort zone and just really have to rely and dig in on yourself.
Being forced to step out, like we all kind of are right now.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, friend.
Thank you for having me. This has been wonderful. I'm so glad you're doing this. I think this is just going to be incredible. Oh, I forgot. I had a little verse about passing the mic to somebody else. But anyway,
go ahead.
No, it's fine. The moment's passed and the drink is empty. So it ain't no more bars coming from over here. But I'm really excited to see the next guest you have. I'm so glad you're doing this. I think this is needed. This is necessary. It's relatable and it's real. This is real. So I'm proud of you, Miriam, and I can't thank you enough for letting me be your first guest. The first and the best. Yes.
Hey, just so y'all know, I was like, Ryan.
Fuck the rest. Hey, I have
bars. She flowing. She feeling herself. Go ahead. Ryan,
no, I'm done. Okay.
Ryan D Entertainment. The people want the bars. Golly. That told you, a jack of all trades. Can you do just for the one time?
Bitch, my name is Ryann Grove. Fuck with me, your head gets swole. I'm not your bitch. Please. I'm not your hoe. Just pass that goddamn drill. Is that what you're talking about?
Dude, yes.
No, I just did it.
Hold on. Crank that up. This is...
No.
What is it? What was this? 2000s? Early 2000s?
I was in the 11th grade and taking a math class that was for people who were younger than 11th grade. And I started a line and then someone gave me another line. And that's all I have. I haven't added on anything else to that. Wait, I did one night. I can't remember. Maybe Jamal would remember. But I did it. I already did it.
Give the people what they want.
I just did.
But we interrupted it.
So if you do a beat, you think it'll be too slow?
I think it'll be off. Just feel the beat. You got it.
I feel like that bar doesn't really speak to where I'm at in my life right now. But I don't really know if that's like on brand with what I'm trying to do. But
it's not at all. It's not at all.
Bitch, my name is Ryann Grove. Fuck with me, your head gets full. I'm not your bitch. I'm not your hoe. Just pass that goddamn drove.
Hey!
Like, not at all on brand for right now, but it's relative. It's all relative. Remember that? Remember that? Wait, Sarah said. I'll say it.
Bad math. Bad
math. For the people who are just joining, there was a lot of real content prior to this, but
I'm gonna make sure I post it to my live or to my story.
Oh, how do you do that? It's irrelevant. I can't be good at everything. I know what I know, and I don't know that.
It's a bit too technical. We're gonna stick with you learning how to attach files to emails. Once we get that, then we can talk about Instagram. I did it. Thank you so much, Ryann. I love you so much.
Love you. Thank you guys for having me. Thank you guys for watching.
Yes, and please go follow at Luca_Ryann. Yes, I'm gonna post it to IG. _Ryann. I'm gonna post it to IGTV. Thank you, Sydney. And thank all of you,
Sydney.
Yes, for the art of storytelling, I'm trying to have people who are doing really dope stuff all over the country. I want you guys to tell your stories and share your stories with people, and just have fun. As you know, we're all trapped in the house right now. And we're doing a lot of reflecting.
I took a shower for this. I put perfume on for this. My mom was like, why are you wasting? You smell good. I put perfume on and brushed my teeth with like extra baking soda and my toothpaste because I haven't been anywhere.
Maybe you knew somebody special might pop in the live.
I haven't seen it. I mean, everybody in here is special, but for what show me.
I'll show you. I'll show you for sure. All right, thank you so much.
And I think you guys should give Miriam suggestions of people that you would want to see. I think you should create like a forum for that, like different topics or different people, and
okay,
see what the people want.
I'll do that. Yeah, I already have some people that I've talked to, but yeah, if you guys know folks that that just have a lot going on, whether it's a business, whether it's a brand, whether it's an organization, a nonprofit, anything that has, and they have a story, a compelling, captivating story. I want to talk. I love to talk to people, to share, and to allow people to share their stories. So
he said Luca and Ada. That's Jason.
Luca. Hey, we already talked about them. We have a Luca Ada on there. But yeah, literally, I'm really inspired by people's stories of success, of struggle, of overcoming hardships, and just really stepping out and doing their thing, and just that firm belief in themselves. And that's what I think you have brought and kind of set the tone, which is really awesome. And I think
it's all encompassing. It's like through what you perceive as like a major loss in life, you gained, I feel like I gained such a clear understanding of myself and what I want in my life, and ultimately what I don't want in my life. And when you're not clear on those things, you're lost.
Right.
So nothing really will come to fruition. Not to say at all that I'm where I want to be or, done with this journey, but I'm clear on what I would like for it to look like.
You're very clear, because your name is Ryann Grove. Fuck with you, your head gets swole. You not say bitch.
I don't feel the need to like do the whole, it was said twice. But.
All right. Well, we're going to sign off. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Bye. Thank you.
Make sure you go follow at Luca_Ryann. Follow me at MinaD_Entertainment. This was my first art of storytelling. There's going to be more to come. If you know people, please.
How often do you think you'll do these?
I probably want to do them weekly. I think that I got the time.
I like to say you got the money, I got the time, but that doesn't really fit here, but that's fine because I still really enjoyed this. But
yeah, and this doesn't cost me anything. But yeah, we're just trying to put a smile on people's faces. And so I really appreciate you, Ryann. You're amazing. Thank you so much. Y'all make sure you follow her.
Thank you, Miriam. We all love you so much.
Thank you. And y'all,
the true talent. You got it.
Thank you. And remember, register to vote. No, I'm sorry. Okay. Wrong thing. Okay, bye y'all. Thank you so much, Ryann. Love you.
Okay, bye. How do I get out? I just click. It's fine. I'll figure it out. Thank you. Bye-bye.